Theory. Welcome to tonight's 4-H for Thursday. Tonight we are joined with Jesse Boxnick. He is our amazing shooting sports and outdoor skills coordinator for the state of Arkansas in our 4-H program, and he is here to kind of share with you information, a little bit of just information in general right now is that the 4-H volunteer conference of the southern states is still open. They're doing it, still is penciled in to be in person. However, there is also virtual options if you still would like to attend, but not maybe go all the way to Georgia.
I have signed up and sent in my money for virtual, but I have not received anything about that yet.
I'll meet with them. I'm sure it's all on the up and up, but I'll make sure that they send you out a receipt. I still have to. I still have to send in my registration.
Saturday that I sent it in.
Okay, I'll get with them and find out the status on that. Okay.
Okay.
I'm sure it's just that they haven't sent out the information. I know it took them about a month to let me know that I was giving a talk, so there's a little delay, perhaps. And I don't know that. I think Lori just found out that she was giving a talk, so there's a little bit of a delay in all of that, but we'll get that going. Hopefully you've received your first of the month. I send out a volunteer newsletter to everybody just with a little bit of information on life skills to help make volunteering easier and kind of a current events, things that are happening. So watch your email box for that. That should come out on the first of the month for every month. And if you have questions or information you'd like to see spotlighted in that, go ahead and give me a holler. That's my little bits on 4-H volunteerism in Arkansas. I'm going to hand it right on over to Jesse.
All right. Thank y'all for having me today. I think I recognize all the names that I see on my screen right now, so that's always good. I guess I'll start with saying I'm going to give a brief overview of the entire shooting sports program, especially since it's going to be recorded. I want people to be able to log in and kind of get an overview from top to bottom, how we operate, and why we do what we do on some things. It's going to be, I'm not going to keep you here all night. There's a couple of y'all that's been to some of the trainings and know what I'm fixing to try to put in 20 minutes usually takes about 12 hours. So and we'll talk more about trainings when we get to that point, but it's just going to be a brief overview. I guess I'll start at the national level. The 4-H shooting sports program is actually governed, or not governed, but kind of guided by the National 4-H Shooting Sports Committee, which is comprised of shooting sports and coordinators, kind of my counterparts from across the country. They serve 2-year terms on there. They can re-up, and it also has program leaders, which are the equivalent of Dr. Angie Friel from our program, but there's usually 3 of those: Oklahoma State, Montana, and the other one eludes me right now. I can't. That we just swapped out a couple, but we have folks at the national level who kind of guide us with our best practices and are constantly monitoring and looking at situations to make our educational programs go better. And then they also help us come up with the national shooting sports curriculum, which was recently updated. In fact, Arkansas was a pilot county in 2018. We had already been changing a couple things towards what they were working for, but we were the first state to pilot that information in 2018, and of course it's all been approved and we've been using it for a couple of years now. Well, we got to use it 1 full year, I think, before COVID hit, and then we haven't really got to use anything for the last year and a half. But that's kind of the overview from the national level. They don't make policies for us, I guess you say, for the University of Arkansas, but they do make some pretty good guidelines, and we try to follow those as closely as we can where we can. We also have different disciplines, and for those of y'all not familiar with that, those disciplines are the shooting disciplines that we offer. And we have rifle, shotgun, archery, muzzleloader, and pistol, as well as hunting and outdoor skills, and Western Heritage. But Western Heritage is one we don't actually offer currently out of the national level. It's getting to be more popular. We keep looking at it, and I've got some strong interest from folks in the state. But we do offer the rifle, the shotgun, archery, muzzleloader, and pistol, and the hunting skills. That's our biggest ones right now. And when I talk about rifle disciplines, it's not just any old rifle. That's 22 rifle. That's air rifles, what we do in 4-H. And then we shoot some different style competitions in each one of those. We also have the shotgun. And currently in Arkansas, we shoot trap in shotgun. We are trying to add sporting clays and skeet to our repertoire. So we're ready when we go to like a national competition, but trap is our main game right now. We also have archery. And at the national level, we shoot compound and recurve archery. We really don't shoot recurve archery. We've had a few shoot recurve in the past. We don't keep them from shooting it. But most of our folks are compound archery folks. We also have muzzleloader. That seems to be the folks that are muzzleloaders are diehard muzzleloaders. That's all they want to shoot, seems like. But the black powder folks, that's always a fun game to shoot. And then we also have pistol, and that's air pistol and 22 or small bore pistol. And there, like I said, there's several different shooting styles inside of those and different competitions inside of that. But in Arkansas, we normally stick to about one. Like similar, like say, I use shotgun as an example because everybody knows what trap is or seems to know what trap is. But in each discipline at the national level, there's at least 3 different competitions inside. We're trying to gear towards that if we can, but it's going to take a little while. And then I'm going to talk about a little bit about how county programs are even set up. Traditionally in Arkansas, there's a shooting sports club in every county that has a shooting sports program. That's not that way across the country, and that's getting to be not. It's still a normal here, but we have a lot of counties that have taken the other approach, and I've been kind of fostering that a little bit because some folks don't want to do a full-blown club. They're already members of a club, or maybe even 2 already in their county, but they may want to shoot shotgun and they want to shoot archery. And what they've done is sent their volunteer leaders or that parent that's already involved in a club. They've sent them to a training such as archery or shotgun. And then some of those counties have been sending teams from, let's say, a livestock club or a rabbit club even. They might have an archery team, but that's basically a project leader inside of that club. So you don't necessarily have to be attached to a shooting sports club to have a shooting sports team in your county or out of your area. And it may just be handier that way. So it is set up a little bit different in every county. I will say the first thing that most folks need to do is get to know your county agent. If you want to get involved in the shooting sports program, if you have any questions about the shooting sports program, they're going to be your best friend at it. And we've been I think we've been doing really well here recently. We've even had last year, we had our first shooting sports in service. It was one of the few in services actually got to be held in person during COVID. But we actually had an in-person in service, and it was county agents only. Now we had a few volunteers that are helping teach those classes, but we had a pretty good turnout. And we've also got another one approved for this year, so it seems pretty popular. We've got lots of young agents and even some seasoned agents that are very interested in learning about the shooting sports program. Maybe not necessarily to teach every discipline, but they're filling in the blank spots in their clubs where they're lacking instructors. But a lot of them just want to be more familiar with it because they want to help identify volunteers. They want to be able to talk the language. They want to be able to help answer those questions because they know they're not experts like they are in some other fields. So they're really wanting to learn as much as they can so they can get a shooting sports program in their county. So that's been very, very popular. Administration has been very, very supportive of that. So the landscape of the way the 4-H club or shooting sports club in Arkansas seems to be changing a little bit because of having project leaders inside of traditional 4-H clubs and just having a certain team. But really, for the most part, still shooting sports clubs or project groups are the predominant way to get in the shooting sports program in 4-H right now. And if y'all have questions during this or whatever, just put them in the chat. Hope's going to help me watch that. Like I said, I want to make this kind of informal, but I also want to make it informative. So if you'll have questions, whatever, just let me know and we'll try to answer those as we go. Now, again, that all runs to the county office. The county extension office, you can't have a 4-H shooting sports program without letting the county extension office know. That's one of the biggest things about that. We very rarely had any problems with that by any means. Some folks may not know. They just, oh, I was in 4-H when I was younger, and they just start one, and not necessarily realize they have to do that. But I know Hope's talked about how to start 4-H clubs in the past and had our folks on and really hit that. And I know it's probably gonna be our YouTube channel. We also have goals in the 4-H shooting sports program. Just like every other part of 4-H, shooting sports is the hook, whether it be livestock, STEM, anything like that. That's going to be the hook to get the kids in the 4-H program, so we can use positive youth development to develop positive life skills. So the whole goal of the 4-H program and shooting sports program is to develop positive or develop life skills of positive youth development. And that's what we do in the shooting sports program. I would suggest even looking up the National 4-H Shooting Sports website. It's been redone in the past year. We can get a hold of, we do STEM activities. We have several things. So like on those rainy days or non-rainy days or kind of the off season with your clubs, you can even do some STEM activities that are related to shooting sports, but gets the kids actively engaged in something maybe besides just the competition part. Because when you look at our program, competition is the least important to us, even though we kind of all gear towards competitions. It's the educational component to get there. Because we traditionally get about 3,500 youth involved in the shooting sports program a year. So it's a fairly large program, one of the biggest in the state. It was the biggest for a long time. I think Game and Fish has a bigger outreach than we do right now as far as members or shooters, but a lot of our kids shoot their programs as well. Requirements. Well, that's a question I get from parents or volunteers, or especially new folks every time. What are the requirements? Do we just show up and start shooting? Well, no, and I've referenced instructor training a little bit. We do. This is the one program you'll find out shooting sports is the most highly trained volunteer program, or volunteers in the entire 4-H program, bar none. We require more. In fact, I think we're the only ones that actually have required training hours in the country. We are also the fastest growing component of 4-H and project area in the entire nation. We reach over 500,000 folks annually in the 4-H shooting sports program. And we've only had 6 documented accidents, and none of them have been serious accidents. So that's one of our big selling points. We are a very, very safe program. But the requirements to have a 4-H shooting sports program, again, go through your county office, get to know your county agent. But before you shoot at the range, you have to have what we call level 1 instructor. And that means you've come to a state training, or we've had several this last year where I took it on the road and we showed up in different regions of the state and taught these. But you are taught by level 2 instructors at the state level. You get 12 hours of training, 3 hours of 4-H training, and 9 hours of discipline training. And what we're doing is teaching you how to safely and effectively teach your 4-Hers how to shoot their first shot and do it safely. And we go through that step by step. When you leave our classes, you're able to walk onto a range and take a new youth and teach them how to shoot whatever it is, from whatever discipline you're trained in, shoot that discipline safely for the first time. Now, like any other project area, if you're thinking this is going to be, Olympic style shooting and you're going to be an Olympic coach after 9 hours of training, it's not. It's like any other one. You learn by doing. So the kids want to get more involved, and we've had kids that are just. In fact, we've had an ex-4-Her win a silver medal in trap this last year, or just a few weeks ago. So they can go as far as they want to go, but they definitely honed their craft just like you would in any other 4-H project at home a little bit, self-taught, and just keep learning more and more. But we kind of get them started in the right direction with our program. So we've got kids on scholarship at multiple colleges outside of the state and some in state right now. It's a very, very big program. So getting back to what I was talking about as far as requirements, you need to be a level 1 instructor, pass those level 1 classes, and then you can teach at the county level or your club level. If you can't be there that day, let's say Hope and I are both on the range. I'm the trained instructor. I can't make it that day, but Hope's the club leader as well. And they want to shoot shotgun. She's trained in archery, but they're wanting to shoot shotgun that day. They can't shoot shotgun in a 4-H practice without a trained shotgun instructor, if that makes sense. You have to have that disciplined instructor on site and on the range. You can't just have one in the club and them not be present, or you're not insured. So that's a big thing. We go over that in our instructor training very, very heavily. We talk about liability and how you handle those situations, insurance, everything, how to be around kids, and it's one of the best curriculums. In fact, a lot of other 4-H programs like to use our what is 4-H component. Our first module of training gets used all over the place to introduce people to 4-H. It's very, very slick. Our curriculum is very, very nice. So that's the kind of minimum requirements. And you also have to be 21 years old to be an instructor. We do some youth instructors, 16 and up, but they can't be the main instructor. They can help and assist, but you need to be 21 years old to be an instructor. Also, let me see. I'm trying to look at my notes real quick. Anybody have any questions so far before I go too much farther? Like I say, I'm trying to keep it brief, and I do want to answer some questions. I know I don't want to talk the whole time and then not be able to answer the questions that y'all need answered.
So one of the questions was, and I think I have it right, was the address for National 4-H, and that was 4-H shootingsports.org, correct?
Yes. Yep, that's correct.
So that's in the chat if you need that.
Yeah, it's very slick. Our folks up in Nebraska, they really cleaned that up. It was kind of clunky up until last year. And I think that's another thing that came positive out of COVID, that there were some folks who had time to get on their computer and fix some stuff that we've been needing updated for a while. But I say Shooting Sports is a multifaceted program. We've got 4-H officers. In fact, you'd be hard pressed to find a state officer team in the last 10 plus years that didn't have a Shooting Sports member on there, or kids are involved in shooting sports. And not all of our shooting sports folks, not all of our shooting sports kids compete in competitions. They might just work at the county level and at their home. But it really seems to really help the kids focus and on all their 4-H programs, teach patience and perseverance. It depends on the discipline they're doing. That can really be a challenge for them.
Hey, Jesse, what is the cost to train a level 1 instructor?
Normally, it's been, and of course it goes up like everything, it seems like, and I haven't announced the price of the latest training, and y'all are going to be one of the first volunteer group to hear this. It is not going out till tomorrow till the Friday newsletter tomorrow, or email that goes out to everyone. It'll be October 8th and 9th. There were some agents heard that. Not even all the agents know this yet. So y'all are getting, I think there's about a half a dozen agents or so that heard me talk the other day, maybe 10, that it's going to be October 8th and 9th at the 4-H Center. It normally costs around the $130 mark to do that training, that's usually overnight. We're going to try to keep it around there. I'm looking for sponsors right now because of our COVID protocols and several different things. The cost was going to go up significantly this year. So like I say, it's going to be, I'll say at $130 to $150 mark is what I'm shooting for. But I will tell you, and this may get some folks excited, it's going to be a little bit more expensive than usual in that $130, $150 kind of there. But we are working on something new. Because of our new curriculum, we can teach the 3 hours of 4-H on the 4-H component online. So you can do that ahead of time, which really opened us up for possibilities. And that is that Friday and Saturday, we're going to try, you will be eligible to get 2 disciplines in. It's going to be 9 hours of training each day, but for that same price, you would normally get 1 discipline over that weekend. You're probably going to be able to walk away with 2. And we're trying to make the registration system, we're trying to figure it out. Because I know Martha has been in all of them, I guess. I think she's been trained in every discipline now. She may not want it, but there might be folks out there that's got 4 out of 5, and they don't want to stay around all day unless they just want to get re-upped on the new curriculum, which we do need to do every 7 years or so. You need to kind of go through the training again. If you haven't taught in the last 3 years, then you need to go through it again anyway. What we're trying to do is get it where you can go through 2 trainings while you're there. We want to make more bang for your buck. And I know some people say it sounds expensive, but when you consider getting a hotel room and you're going to get 4 or 5 meals with that and all the supplies, it's pretty good. So that's what we're kind of looking at right now. I think Jan asked that. Like I said, it seems expensive. I know some counties pay for it, some pay for half. we're gonna try to find a sponsor or something. We're gonna keep that cost down to that, or just eat some cost somewhere. We don't like. I've never since I've been the coordinator, we've never made a profit on the leader trainings. We usually do that at cost, or we end up eating some of the cost to try to keep it as low as we can, because we know it's required, but it can also be a little costly. Now, those ones that we've done around the state this last year, I was able to do that on site. Like one discipline, I'd go teach shotgun. We might do muzzleloader somewhere in the state. We went to Northeast Arkansas, went to Southeast. We were going to go to Western Arkansas, and it got canceled one. We were able to do those for about $30. And because you brought your own sack lunch, or we got lucky in one county, they had a sponsor show up and cater the meal for us, or they just paid for it. Wasn't a big deal, but we were able to do those for about $30 at local shooting ranges, and let everybody kind of bring their own shells, that kind of stuff, like the shotgun train. That's what I use for example, because it's the easiest one to find a range for right now. But we are going to try to focus on getting more of those out there and doing multi-county trainings out in the state, because we know the more people we get trained and bring it to you, so you don't have to travel, maybe overnight, that it's going to be easier for you, and that means more 4-H'ers and more outreach for our program.
Jan just commented that great. It's a 2-for-1 deal.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about this. We've been wanting to do that for a while. Idaho kind of showed me the way. They've been doing it. They were kind of piloting this little program. I think, yeah, it was Idaho, and I think Utah may have followed them. So we're going to try to follow suit. They said it worked successfully, and people were very, very happy because they were getting a 2-for-1 for if they were going to use up a whole weekend. Essentially, they did like getting the 2 disciplines, and it helped build clubs faster. And I think we need that right now more than any time. We've got new clubs forming, and that were forming when COVID hit, that I hope we don't lose. And we had a bunch of clubs that are in complete rebuild mode. Either kids have aged out, or some have been out long enough. Their instructors have left. They need to get 2 when they come down there. So essentially, in a year, if we just did the traditional 2 trainings a year, spring and fall, one person could come out with 4. And if we happen to do a couple of extra single ones around the state, I mean, you could get more, but you could end up getting 4 trainings a year, which was in the past, that was a 2-year ordeal to get 4 instructor or 4 disciplines down. So we're cutting that time in half. I'm pretty excited about that. Any other questions or comments, or did I just totally miss something that y'all really wanted to hear covered? We are trying to plan a junior event. I've got a date tentatively set. We've been kind of looking at it. I don't want to announce it just quite yet, but it's going to be in October, very end of October, or November. We're going to try to do a junior match. I know we had to postpone that one, which worked out really good for lots of reasons. I didn't realize how close we had to getting some COVID out there, but we are going to try to have a junior match this year, of some kind. So I think it's going to just keep your eyes peeled for that. We'll let it out to your agents. Most of them haven't even heard about that yet. So y'all are on the front end of this one, but we're going to have some matches. We do have the senior championship still scheduled right now for spring break of next year. That would be that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday time frame, spring break next year. I can't remember the date right offhand. It seems like it's that last week. It's like 21st to the 23rd, 22nd to the 24th, something like that. I can't remember the exact dates, but it's that spring break, standard spring break. That would have been our 4th time to do that, but it's going to actually be our 2nd in person since we changed the spring break. We had one, and then we had two shoots of COVID. So we're hoping that that's gonna go well for us. We also, a lot of folks always ask I would say the program that's picking up the most steam right now by far is our BB program. I think I'm going to continue. Some of y'all may or may not know, we did basically a mail-in contest where we had y'all sign up for BB last year for the state contest, and we mailed you your official targets. Y'all shot them, sent them back. They had electronic scored targets. That was very, very popular. I think we may keep that regardless if we do one in person. We may just go ahead and keep that one as another shoot, give those kids an opportunity. But that is the one place that we saw tremendous growth even during COVID. In several counties, they had their younger 4-H'ers shooting the BB contest. And I'm pretty stoked about that because we've been doing that the last 3 years. That gives 3 4-H teams an opportunity to qualify. The top 3 teams in that contest qualify for the Daisy Nationals. That coupled with the Arkansas BB Championships, with most of our kids shoot and have been for years, that gives 6 spots, and a lot of them end up being 4-H teams both directions. That really opens it up and gives Arkansas 6 teams a lot of times or more at that contest. So pretty proud to be doing that, and always encourage our kids to shoot both of those matches, and most of them do.
Any other
Anything else that I
questions?
just totally missed on that y'all might want to hear about? Just like I say, don't be afraid to ask anything. If I don't know, I'll get it to you later. If I do know, I'll let you know right now. Anything? Hope, is that what you needed on that, or did you want some more?
That's kind of what we were hoping for.
Cool deal. Like I say, we're hoping to. I really wanted to send some folks to the national training this year, but I think maybe with COVID, I'm not sure it's going to still happen. It's been postponed. I just like to throw it out there. The level 2 instructor training, they get trained by level 3s. I didn't really hit on that all the way. We have 3 levels of instructor training: 1, 2, and 3. Again, level 1s teach at the club and county level. Level 2s train at the state level, and level 3s train at the national level. And the national training to get new level 2 certified is in Appomattox. I'm a history guy, so it's in Appomattox, Virginia. So I thought that was going to be pretty cool. That's been postponed twice. They were supposed to do that 2 years ago. They just keep moving our sites back and back and back. So I'm hoping it's going to happen this fall. But we are probably going to send somebody to get trained in Western Heritage pretty soon. I hate to keep promising that, but we do have some folks that want to see that, and I want to see what the training is all like, so we can so we can know how to prepare for it as we build towards that.
Hey, Jesse.
Oh yes, I'm glad somebody said that. BB does not require an instructor. Does not require a rifle trained instructor because it's not a firearm. There's a lot of folks think you have to have a rifle instructor to do that. It is handy, but with BB you can get started, and that'll give you something to really hone some of your skills on teaching BB for sure. So that was good point.
And a question about that also is, do you know when the mail-in BB contest will be? Will it?
It'll be I don't know when the mail-in will be, but I do have that on the book. The state contest is going to be the state BB contest. I believe I had that set for January 22nd. The backup date will probably be the 29th. We've had to use that once before. We've been snowed and iced out before. So January 22nd is going to be the
in-person
BB contest. We're going to try to keep it. We're going to try to keep it about that fourth or fifth weekend, or 4th or 5th Saturday every January. 4-H Center loves it, and that's what we've got it in for right now. Is January 22nd. Is there anything y'all like? Well, I've got you on. Is there anything y'all like to see?
Are there BB materials to work with kids?
Yes, and there's a couple of people on here probably answer that better than I can. But yeah, there are BB materials. We have our own guidebook that helps you get started in that for ARAMA and BB guidelines. But Daisy, especially the folks shooting that BB contest, Daisy has an entire manual and instructions for that really help folks get started. Young shooters get started. We can get those to you. In fact, I probably need to get some of those and just send them out to because we got a lot of young agents that folks have never seen that, and some new instructors have never seen that. So that's a good call. But it's Daisy puts out a really, and we use NRA rules a lot, but Daisy and NRA, and between the three, we have a really good setup as far as instruction goes. Any other questions, comments? Like I said, what would y'all like to see as far as shooting sports or new competitions? Like I said, we really like to add some more competitions instead of just 1 or 2 a year. The more we have, it seems like the more popular they get. We like to keep them actively engaged all year. I'm really excited to see if this fall contest work out. We'd like to add some more fall contests.
Jesse, there's a request to get that Daisy manual up. I don't know if we can put that on our website or a link or send a link to our
I bet we
agents to get
can.
that
I'll
to 'em.
find out.
And then also, is there still AYSSP and YHEC?
Oh, yeah, yeah, AYSSP, that's very, like I said, that's probably the most popular shoot. In fact, I'm not sure it's not the most popular shooting program in the country right now, AYSSP. But I think there's like 6,000 or 8,000 kids in Arkansas that shoot that. So, and we got a lot of 4-H'ers to shoot it. We've been working with Jimmy Self quite a bit. We're gonna try to do our goal is to have some cross training. I don't know if that'll ever get done. But we've been working together on several little projects that are coming up. But AYSSP is still very much there. Your 4-H teams can shoot AYSSP. YHEC still very much there. And they also openly welcome 4-H teams, have a lot of 4-H teams that shoot that. And I think Arkansas hosts 3 different YHEC contests now, I'm pretty sure, at least 2. I know they host the state and regional contests. Seem like they just, is it 2, Martha? Yeah, it's 2. I know they host two big matches a year. So, and there's several ones, and we try to get that information out there. Gary Job still in charge of the YHEC shoot. There's also a 3-position air rifle match that he's in charge of that our 4-H'ers like to shoot. So we encourage our kids to shoot all those matches. That just gives them that many more opportunities to get out there and shoot. And he's also in charge of the Arkansas 4-H or Arkansas BB Championship, which is identical to our 4-H BB championships for the most part. So, and 3 teams from his contest qualify to go to Daisy Nationals, and 3 teams from our contest qualify to go to Daisy Nationals. So, we really encourage our kids to do all those. And I think YHEC actually is hosted in Lone Oak now. This year is the first year at the Lone Oak location.
What is the best way to organizationally set up the shooting sports club? The more leaders, the better. What is required of the leaders?
That's good. It kind of depends on your situation. I always say more leaders are better for the most part, as long as they're pulling their weight. And we go over that in our instructor trainings very heavily on how to pick out those leaders and how to work with them and attitude and the whole 9. But for this question, you need to. I usually, in my experience, we've always treated it more like a regular 4-H club. When I was in the county, even now, try to find you a really good main club leader that you can depend on, especially Jan as a county agent. Find that one person that you can communicate with, that just like you would in any other club. They're a community leader already. People trust them, they identify them. They know if they send their kids there, they're going to be okay. And then proceed from there, just like you would with a normal 4-H club. Same setup. Do an informational organizational meeting, or I say informational first. Invite the community out. Get on the radio, the paper, the television stations if you can. Put it on social media. If you have podcasts out there, even with your other groups or associations, get flyers out. Have an informational meeting. Invite the entire community, and then go from there, just like you would setting up a traditional 4-H club or project group. And then I would start trying to get leaders trained as they get more comfortable. And just keep in mind, if they don't like shooting sports, they might like to do paperwork and that kind of stuff. There's always, in our group, we always need scorekeepers. We always need folks to keep people organized and make orders and inventory. Like there's probably just as much paperwork or more with the shooting sports group as there is any 4-H club or any club out there as far as keeping up with inventory and that kind of stuff. So I would just go about it just like you would any other club, Jan. That's what we've always taught our folks to do. And we haven't changed that here recently, and it seems to work out pretty well. But if you need any help with that, just let me know. Or I'll tell you what, I don't mind going out and helping you in those informational meetings, especially we've had some agents in the past that were brand new, or they really weren't comfortable handling shooting sports questions. I've gone out to those informational meetings and sat right there with them, and I would handle the quote unquote hardball questions if they came from the adult leader. So I'm available to do that if we can get it scheduled and do it if you need that.
They also are going to be required, though, to also go through the basic 4-H volunteer training.
Yes.
So they're going to have to go through our orientation guide, volunteer the risk management chaperone training, as well as be mandated reporters, and we do run background checks on them as well.
Yep, I'm glad you said that. I had that in my notes. I can see it right here now that you said that. I wrote it down here. Saying, and we've had some folks that went through our training before, and we're pretty good about it. If you got people waiting on background checks, we've let them come in to do the training for the adults only. But we've had some folks that never did go back and get they didn't really go back and finish that up. So they never became instructors because they went to the training, but they actually didn't do the background check and that kind of stuff. They didn't finish their paperwork with the extension office. It was kind of a last minute thing. And then we've had some folks that did all that and then didn't come to the training. So whatever we can do to help you do that, again, use that. It's basically the same requirements as any other 4-H club, what we're looking for. Now you can have guest instructors as well. So if you have somebody, let's say I'm teaching a class and I really want some extra instruction. I know what I'm doing to get you going, but I want to bring in that guest instructor. You know, I want to bring in Kaylee Browning from over in Faulkner County and teach trap one night. She can come over and teach. I just have to be on which would be weird that there was a silver medalist Olympian that would be there, but I'd have to be there to make it safe. But that's what 4-H does. That's why we are the safest program. You can have a guest instructor on site helping you, but you have to have a discipline instructor on site running the range, doing their normal job as well. So you can bring in some guest instructors if you need them. Any other questions, comments, concerns? And Martha's heard all this before. I know she has. I was telling everybody, Martha was my leader. She helped train me when I was a brand new county agent. I started in her county. So I knew she was trained in everything and she's always there to help. Just like everybody else is on here, I'm sure, but she already knows this. I'm just glad she's still continuing to learn it, even though she already knows it.
All right. If there's aren't any further questions, I'll just remind you that our next 4-H fourth Thursday will be focusing on rebuilding our clubs and a few little trainings on communicating with our youth.
Awesome. Thank you all for coming. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Jesse.
Thank you.
I'll stop recording. Maybe all the questions will come forward.